This episode of Nuff Said is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Are you sorry? Are you heartfully sorry for all of your sins? Well, it does not matter, for now is the time of your just punishment. Good evening, viewers, and well, listen. This is Just Punishments, the Southgate Media and Capes and Lunatics one-stop shop for everything Punisher. Tonight's episode, Season 2, Episode 7, One Bad Day, Madani's quest to ID Pilgrim hits a wall. Russo and his crew put their plan into action. Frank encounters someone from the past. Directors tonight, Jet Wilkinson is our director. Jerry Conway and John Romita Sr. get our good old Marvel created by credits, and I hit the wrong button. And Ross Andrew also gets a credit this week. I'm not quite sure who he created, but I'm guessing he's the guy that gave us Jigsaw, whose name gets called out. His name gets. Does it get called out in this one, or is that next one?
I didn't catch it if it did.
Yeah, it gets. I watched both of them. I think it's not till next one that they call him, this Jigsaw Mountain Farmer,
Gotcha.
Steve Lightfoot gets our created by credit. Felicia D. Henderson is our written by credit. And Angela Lamanna is our executive story editor. And her job is to boss around hardest working man in show business, Ken Christensen, our good old regular old story editor. So we open up this episode with Madani in the hospital just after she got shot in the head. And man, I don't know. Part of me just kind of feels like her boss is the devil.
I saw it like, she knows what it is, what the situation is, what the power dynamics are, how much power you really legitimately have to change something. And she, it's kind of like she gave into these same impulses a long time ago, and she has to shepherd this new person through it. And it's not an unreasonable thing to do or to ask somebody to do, because I'm sure it's done all the time, and this is just how you're initiated into the inner fold. You try to do the best you can. You Obama it up. You'll get there, blah, 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 but you won't really be able to do everything that you want to because your hands are tied and yada, yada, yada. And so she's just guiding her through that, and she's trying her best. That's what I saw.
Well, your take is that she's, just someone that she's a pragmatist.
Right, and she's just guiding a new person through this. And it also sort of validates her decision to see a new young person that has the gumption that she no longer possesses. If that ilk, and maybe she admires her rawness and her rebelliousness and her still intact idealism. And if a person like that can be converted over to this side, then maybe I wasn't wrong all those years ago in doing it. I see that motivation in her.
I mean, I can certainly see that. I guess on my level, I look at it and I just kind of feel like, so there's this scene where basically after she has her say what she wanted her to say, she then tells her, okay, now if you want, you can call him back in and tell him whatever you want. But it's after she's already done it. Basically, after she sold her soul. She says, okay, I'll give you it back. And it's like, but I already sold it. It's like, it's not really, you can't really return it once you've already crossed this line.
Yeah.
Because then it just makes me look like the, crazy lady who got shot in the head. That now I'm going to say, oh no, it's this whole other story instead. So yeah, I did not feel at any time, and we also see her again later in this episode, discussing, when she finds out that Castle's back in town.
Yeah. Again, ever the pragmatist.
Yeah, well, what it is both these ladies have gotten themselves into this situation where, everything that they had planned for has kind of, they're sort of dealing with, they're trying to point these weapons in the direction that they want them to go.
Right.
You want to point, you have a castle. It's not necessarily something you want, but it's just something that you kind of have to, it's something that's going to be out there. And the only thing you can do is kind of point it at something and hope for the best.
Absolutely.
And I think in this case, Castle is definitely a weapon. And we also get in this basically this conversation again between Castle and Madani and Curtis about what are we, are we gonna let Castle take out Russo?
Curtis is fine with it. Her own boss is fine with it. I think a lot of people would be. She's the only one that seems to be a stickler for it.
Well, because at the end of the day, it's about, it's supposed to be hard, I think is what she might say. That, the reason why it is what it is because it is supposed to be hard. And I know, yes, like I said, yes, the easiest thing in the world would be just to put a pillow 6 months ago over Russo's comatose body and, walk out of there.
Or like Frank should have finished the job. Like,
well,
I don't know.
You see, to me, that's the thing. They say Frank should have finished the job, but that is just washing their own hands.
For sure.
They're like, oh, well, you're the Punisher, right? So go punish him.
Isn't that the offer he made us when he started killing people? He's like, let me handle it.
Well,
and we were like, okay, man, you go right ahead.
Except he couldn't do it the last time. So why do we think he can do it this time? That's the thing. It's like, not for nothing, they probably felt, yeah, he's probably going to deal with Russo. But then that he decided to walk away, that he couldn't kill Russo, tells you that I don't think he's going to be, especially now that he knows Russo's just messed in the head right now. That this Russo isn't although he's getting a lot of it back,
Yeah.
But he's not all there, But he's definitely, basically, the evil that was in Russo is still there. Right. Remember last episode, I think it was, Curtis saying, it was coming. It was the greed that turned Russo into a monster. I don't buy that.
Right.
I think he was always a monster. It never came up. That he was always, because not for nothing, he is a professional sociopath. Right. There was a little comic strip I was reading online the other day called Sociopath Man. And it's just about, yes, I'm a sociopath, but society allows you to be a sociopath if you direct it at certain people. So I'm a superhero and I'm going to beat you up. And he's also running for it was kind of a weird joke there. But that is Sociopath Man, and I think that's who Billy Russo was. He was Sociopath Man. He was going to be a killer. He was going to be a murderer, and it was just, okay, you're going to pay me, you want me to kill these people for democracy and freedom? Sure, no problem. And then it's like, oh, you want me to kill these same people, but now you're going to pay me money to do it? Oh, even better.
Yeah. He was getting paid to do it before, too.
Yeah, but not
fair enough.
That's the thing. It's like, yeah, he got paid,
That's true.
It's the difference between being, a guy that works at Microsoft and being Bill Gates,
Right.
You're both designing computer stuff and, coming up with brilliant ideas, but, one guy works for another guy. Yeah. And, when you're Sociopath Man, you would like to be really in charge of the whole story. And that's where he finds himself there. And he's rebuilding it. And we see what their plan is. And this is where we finally get what the idea is here. They're going to knock over a check cashing joint. And I gotta say, man, this is an interesting plan that they have, to say the least. I mean, obviously, it's totally an inside job. Right. But not for nothing, any cop, 5 seconds in, is gonna know, oh, obviously this was an inside job. They knew right when they were coming, and they, because they waited till the money was in the vault. Right. Rather than jumping the guys on the way to the vault, which arguably would have been the easier score.
I mean, it certainly seemed that way. That's the first. Like, he was right there. Why didn't you just get him instead of this whole mess? but they're not that bright. I think that is what they're trying to show.
Well, no. What it is they needed the driver, who was their inside man, to be
Ah,
out of the store when they made the thing. So that's why they have to get into the thing, and then they actually have their second inside man, which is oh no, I'm sorry, no, that's sorry, spoilers for next episode. Okay, never mind. Please ignore that last statement. You haven't seen the next episode yet. It's yes, so they but we do see what their plan is here, which is to knock this place over. And man, I like the boss lady. Though well, yeah, because it's like, what are you gonna do? You can't, and she is basically saying, you can't put a fragmentation grenade through that slot. It's designed so it doesn't do it. And it's like, well, but it'll kill all these other people. It's like, yeah, it'll kill you too. Not for nothing. It's like, we're in here, you're out there, and your guns aren't going to do it. And all I gotta do is push one button, and the cops are on their way. And if you want to go to Rikers, well, not just, if you want to get the needle
right.
for killing the people in this store, that is your choice. But I am not about to let you knock me over. Although I guess the obvious point is that, the money is insured, so
Right.
there is no
Yeah.
no loss there.
Right, but it does send a message to the neighborhood that you can knock this place over, which isn't good.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and not for nothing, it'll cause her insurance rates to skyrocket. Not for nothing, I am certain that her insurance rates on that kind of stuff are pretty high to start with, because it is in probably a high crime neighborhood. Because generally speaking, check cashing places exist in financial deserts, so you're gonna have that as a issue they're gonna have to deal with there. But yeah, so that is that plot line, and that is the culmination of where we're going. Up to that point, though, we do have Madani and Frank and Curtis coming to their little agreement that, okay, we're going to let Frank take out Billy. Again, I think that it is such a, when the Hulk doesn't show up in Infinity War, the Russos made this point about, well, a lot of it is just that the Hulk is tired of fighting Bruce Banner's battles. That the Hulk is just doesn't want to have to go, doesn't want to just be the guy that gets called out to do the dirty work. And what we see here is this idea of, in many ways, kind of Frank Castle asking to be the one to do the dirty work, asking to get this chance to, I guess, redeem himself in all these people's eyes by saying, okay, this time I really will put a bullet through his head.
And he feels like it. Yeah, I mean, like, it was his mistake.
I mean, to be fair, he actually did put a bullet through the guy's head the last time. It just didn't take. Just like putting a bullet in Madani's head, it just didn't take.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and for what it's worth, I do like that Madani is resisting here, but again, it's all about her selling her soul,
right,
in bits and pieces, In this case, it's okay. In this case, each little compromise is okay, and it leaves, justice. Justice is a statue, in with scales. It's not something that we deal in. That's not the work we deal in. Because as she makes the point, it's like, when she tells the story at the beginning, then, the guy that she, the person, Abu Zaire, just becomes another, body in a grave.
Her partner.
Her partner isn't, doesn't get the justice he deserves. The man who killed him goes out as a patriot and a hero. And it's like, none of this none of this is just. None of this is right. And again, I guess with the Punisher, it's not about justice.
Huh.
It's never about justice. It is about punishment. And punishment and justice are not
Right. He's not trying to bring balance to the world. He's trying to bring balance to his own emotions.
Yeah, he's trying to. I mean, he's trying to cause problems. Was what
Right.
he's trying to do. You know, as you said, you know, and when they're doing the stakeout in this episode, and he says, you know, I did try it for all of 5 minutes, and then all this.
Yeah, and then you couldn't stop like fighting people, and she got shot.
Mm-hmm. Although not for nothing, it is kind of this whole idea of, you know, all of 5 minutes. And, you know, honestly, probably, here's what I'll tell you. I think these guys were lucky that they didn't shoot that lady, that she didn't die.
That's
in the
also true.
Because I think that had Frank lost another girlfriend in this, it's like, oh, well, now I really got to murder y'all.
Yeah.
You know, and he's not going to waste time going through guys like Pilgrim. He's going to find, okay, who shot these people? Why are they shooting? Okay, let me go all the way to the top. You know,
I killed that one. I don't feel better. Let me kill the next higher up. Kill that guy. Still don't feel better.
Yeah.
Let me try the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, as we say, it is Providence. You know. I do think it is interesting that they are relying on Punisher to do it. I mean, obviously Punisher is the only one that can do it. But again, you know, throughout all of this, it just seems like I think there's a part of me that thinks that maybe Frank is hoping that actually Russo will kill him instead. You know, put him out of his misery.
I think every engagement he goes into, there's a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, at the end of this episode, when they do finally confront, and, you know, and Billy sees the skull.
Yeah.
And he realizes that the skull was Frank the whole time. And it is so overwhelming to him, he kind of freaks out. And then, you know, Frank doesn't take the shot when Billy's frozen.
Right.
You know?
No, but I thought about it too, but at that point, like, other people were shooting at him too. So I guess if you got to make a tactical decision, you shoot at the people shooting at you first.
Yeah, well, I mean, one can make that argument.
That's how I justified it to myself, you know?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot going on there.
The one part
I like that they put the sniper on the roof.
Right! My God! Is he like the worst sniper ever? The guy's right in front of him on like the right side of the car. You have a clean shot. You're literally one like street away. How do you miss 3 shots?
Well, not for nothing. It should be pointed out none of these guys are in the Army anymore. You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like, you know, they may all have been special forces at some point, but as we know with Billy, not Billy, what's the other guy's name? You know, he's a tweaker.
Right. That's true. Because they were, you know, almost unsuccessfully robbing the check cashing place.
Yeah, and not for nothing, for what it's worth. I mean, he may be a decent sniper in the environments that he normally snipes. This is a very different urban landscape that is probably not where he normally snipes. I don't think the U.S. normally sends in snipers in close quarter combat. No. Snipers usually are out in the hill country where that distance, because the whole reason you use a sniper is for distance. So when you're doing that kind of what's really a close quarter sniping, that's a very different style of sniping, I imagine. I mean, I know there are people that specialize in that.
Because certainly, you know, SWAT people, roof, you know?
Yeah. But again, like I said, I think that's a very different type of work. You know? And again, like I said, it's not like this guy has a job with the NYPD as a rooftop sniper, you know? And that is again that whole you know that whole idea here, you know, and there's that scene in Wonder Woman when the sniper keeps on freezing. and I always hated that because they never gave him a redemptive moment as the sniper, the Scotsman.
Right.
He never gets to show that he could shoot. Because the few times they let him, it's like one of my big disappointments in Wonder Woman is that they never let this guy who is clearly suffering from PTSD ever have that overcoming it moment. But so yeah, as snipers go, sometimes they have these problems. And but for what it's worth, he does what he needed to do, which is he puts in the suppression.
Right.
Which is what they needed was the suppression fire, and they hold they hold off the chase and allow the guys to get away. Of course the guy, and again the sniper, Curtis gets the drop on him quite easily. Which allows Frank to go into pursuit. And like the guy in the car, was that just an innocent bystander, or was that one of their own guys?
I gotta imagine it was one of their own guys.
Yeah, I thought that was like the second driver, and he just accidentally shoots him, which again goes to maybe he wasn't that good of a sniper at all. I mean, and, not for nothing. I mean, a lot of these guys, they might just be taking, Billy might just be taking everyone's word for it for what they actually did.
Right.
It's like, I was totally a really good sniper. We saw last, what was it? Was it last season? Yeah, last season with the guy who never actually even fought, but was making a big statement.
Right.
So that's not just in one war that happens. You get guys like that all the time, who overinflate what they did, and so. Oh, also within this, we also get a nice moment again near the beginning with Billy and his doctor. Well, obviously not big on her medical ethics.
Oh yeah.
But apparently likes it rough, so good for her.
Hey.
And I still want to know what happened to her, and maybe we'll get that eventually. But when she says, she had a fall. I got to think it was more than just a fall, I mean, maybe it was. Maybe she just accidentally fell out the window, because it clearly is that she fell out a window. But I gotta think that maybe there's more to it than she just fell out a window. Like maybe there was some kind of other factors in how she.
Right, that would be nice because they're building it up to be a reveal, almost like she's gonna have superpowers or something like it. So make it worthwhile.
Well, although maybe at the same time, maybe it is just a crippling fear of heights. That not for nothing, traumas can happen in all kinds of ways and in all kinds of places. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be like Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch, where you're pinned under rubble and looking at the Stark bomb that didn't go off. It could just be that she was just running in the house and fell out the window because it was cheap glass, and you can tell that there was that she basically fell through plate glass. That seems to me to be what we're looking at there, especially with the scars she has. And I gotta say, they're doing Billy's scars better. I still think that he's far too handsome for the scars to be that big of a deal in his life. I mean, they're a little reddish scars, and I think they're but they definitely are making them darker as the season is going on. So I get the feeling like maybe it's because he's not getting proper treatment for the scars anymore. Like maybe before he was getting salves and such to help him, and he's not getting that anymore. So his scars are getting a little more pronounced.
His day-to-day activities are a whole hell of a lot rougher than they were in the hospital.
Yes. Although to be fair, I mean, like the last couple days they haven't been. It's after he got out of the hospital, he basically has only killed one guy. So it's, but so I like that scene. Although again, what is going on with these two? It's I don't know if that's the last we've seen of her or
I doubt it.
Yeah. But it is interesting, and of course we see that this has caused her to have like where in both of their cases they're like, yeah, for the first time in a long time, I didn't have any nightmares. And we can see that she's feeling confident. She can open the windows better, and then as soon as he walks out, everything just goes to heck for both of them, because for her it's like suddenly now it's like she is falling through the window again. And not for nothing, with Billy, he is definitely, I think, even maybe like Frank, it's just like he almost felt good for a minute.
Right.
And we got to put a stop to that.
Right.
We got to put a stop to that. Yeah, so that is, and that is certainly like, and then we see that, he took her gun out of her thing. And I do wonder that, is she going to get the gun to shoot him, or is she just going through her stuff and realizing he took my gun? And, which I'm sure, for her that gun is a sense of safety.
Right.
Which he is taking away from her, but also it does seem to imply that maybe she was looking for it so she could, put a bullet in him.
Although I wouldn't put it past her to try to use that to sort of turn him on and get him to stay.
Well, yeah, that's true too. They certainly have a weird relationship as far as their certain, sexual adventurousness. They definitely both like to get fit. But good for them. Good for them. If that's your, I'm not going to say I don't find that enjoyable. So I'm going to say good for them.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. But it all comes around at the end. The other big plot line in this is we get Madani after Pilgrim basically taunts her by taking off his hat to let her take a good picture of him, which will be his undoing, I think. Because even the little forensic lady, who I love as a character, she was so much fun. I kind of think my mom wants me at the house,
It kind of constantly forces Madani to confront her selling out.
Yes. Well, because you have all these people looking up to you. But, not for nothing, probably the same way she looked up to her director at the time, And it's like, you look up to them because all you see is the fact that they're BAs. You never think about all the compromises you have to make to get to be in that position. But she does make this point, the one, it's like, this guy is a ghost, he doesn't exist, and basically says, which of course she immediately recognizes that's what they did to Frank Castle. This guy got removed from the system by somebody. Somebody removed this guy. But what the woman says is, the other thing we can do is, we can't match his prints to this face, but what if we can match this face to these prints? And that is where, because there's a church bulletin out there when they do, what do they call it, a Boolean search, where you look for images on the internet, and they're going to find this guy. It's like, oh, this is John Pilgrim. He's in this little church, and it's not going to be that hard to put all the pieces together once you know where he is and where he's from, where he's been hiding and who's been hiding him. Because not for nothing, if he was just in hiding, he'd just be in hiding. But he keeps on coming out of hiding, so now we know there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is actually probably my favorite scene in this whole thing, is that wonderful, sign. I have no idea what her actual job is, honestly, because it just is. She's dusting for prints and she's doing all this, running through databases. But she was a fun character, and I get the feeling she's going to, probably in the next couple episodes, she's going to give us that tie back, where she's going to go to Madani and it's like, this is who this guy is. Yeah. And because we matched his face to his print.
And with as overly friendly and how many compliments she's giving to her, it almost seems like she could be a plant for her by higher ups to gain her confidence and get into her trust.
I mean, that's always a
I mean, it's
possibility. You
super
always got to watch
far-fetched,
out
but
for
it'd be
that.
pretty cool if somebody thought of that.
Yeah, I think it's more. I think, I mean, at least to me, I hope it's more that, because I did like the character. I hope that it is more just to show the idealism of the young person a little lower down on the totem pole, looking up to the person who has achieved it without ever realizing what she.
Like, I wonder if Madani at that point is thinking, "Am I gonna have to have the conversation my boss just had with me with this young girl a few years down the road?"
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think that's the crux of Wonder Biscuit. Anyway, so they make their they get their money. Billy Russo's team get their money. They only lose a couple guys on the way, and they do manage, it seems, to lose Frank. Although we see them driving off it, and that's the end of this episode.
Yeah, I think they're still giving chase at the end of the episode.
Yeah, they're still giving chase. But I definitely think the sniper slowed Frank down. So, Mozz, any final thoughts on tonight's episode?
No, I'm really interested to see like Frank get back in front of Russo's face. But we got like a bunch more episodes, so they're just like, okay, this is what you're gonna get, but we're gonna slow play it. So I guess it's weird.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to see. Yeah, we're gonna have to see where it goes. I very much enjoyed this episode. It was a great presentation of everything we're dealing with these guys. You definitely got to see Frank and Billy at their best. I think, as both as strategists and as stone cold killers. I think that they both come off very strong there. And I really liked to see the parallels between Madani and the psychiatrist. I think that in both of them being kind of wrapped up in these, shall we say, unhealthy relationships. Wow. And it's not to say that Madani's relationship is sexual in nature with Frank, but it is still just as
right. But there's also sharing that sort of weird sexual history with Russo.
Well, yeah, that is true too.
They're both I think, struggling with their identity as it relates to their profession.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot there.
Like, is she being a good therapist? Am I being a good cop?
And then at the same time, both are majorly violating the codes of ethics.
Right, but it's like, in the end, both of them think they're doing it for the ultimate good, or like for the ultimate artistic expression of that profession, Exactly,
they feel they are right because
there's a universal
they
right.
just really feel like they have to be. Yeah, because there's no easy answers, Miles. That's the one thing we can say about all of this, is there are no easy answers. Okay, Mozz, in the meantime, if people would like to give you easy answers, even though we know there are none, how can they do that to you?
I would prefer tough questions, but they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And of course, you can always write to me that old-fashioned email way, the way our Mozz and Poz once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. maybe, or Cloak and Dagger sometimes, or anything that happens to be where I am at the time that I can do it. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEssser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
Ping!
For quality. Dear penitents, you are absolved of your sin, and you may go in peace now, and sin no more. But you will. And when you do, return here for your just punishments.